Good afternoon, YouTube. This is Maria Manuel, George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Bodybuilding Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, we have a big show coming this weekend. It is one of the biggest shows that's here in the States. It is the Chicago Pro, and it's one of the few shows that has women's bodybuilding division a part of the lineup. And it's promoted by Tim Gardner. Much respect to Mr. Gardner. He is one of the few promoters to still get the opportunity in women's bodybuilding. Well, the list came out Monday evening, and I said I'll wait for a little bit before I do a video because sometimes things change, this and that. But anyway, we have here the list for women's bodybuilding. It's a kind of a it's been kind of very low numbers this year. I think, as you know, bodybuilding is expensive, especially for the women, the cost of travel to the shows and everything else. But like I said, I keep saying this, it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. And we do have some quality competitors here, some even lipper level competitors here. It's a master show, which is going to be that tomorrow, the master show. And a couple of ladies I know are competing at this show, and I want to give a shout out too. First off, we have I'm going to go by the name I mostly know as Chris Coy. As you know, Miss Coy has been competing for quite a long time. She's originally from Spain. And she was with women's physique for a good bit, but she crossed over to women's bodybuilding. She has done quite a few shows. Tampa, she has done shows. I remember last year she did the Elenie Alvives show, which is the Elenie Classic. And I think the last show she did compete was the Masters World Championship that's in Pittsburgh. Next up we have is a lady who's been twice Olympia confirmed, but made her Olympia debut last year, 2024. She's been to Chicago quite a few times. She earned her pro card in Chicago a few years ago. This is one Miss Christina Mendoza. She won the Chicago Pro 2023, which got her first Olympic qualification, but due to circumstances, she had to drop out. She earned a qualification this last year at the Tampa Bay Pro. Impressive physique, top poser. I'm a fan of hers. Next up we have here is one Miss Anastasia Ryder. Anastasia interviewed her 2023 when she got her pro card at the Nationals. She made her pro debut in Tampa because that's where she's from. Impressive physique. I know she's doing this show, and I believe she might do Tampa too. But like I said, she's been looking pretty good from what I'm seeing on social media. Also, a lady here who actually made her women's bodybuilding debut in 2023 at the Chicago Pro, the same year that Christina won her Olympic qualification, is Melissa Tyke. Melissa was originally physique, and she's a two-time Olympian, both women's physique. She made her women's bodybuilding debut at the Chicago Pro, and also she last competed at the Rising Phoenix. Took last year off, and now she's coming back to Chicago, maybe try getting a shot for Olympic qualification in women's bodybuilding. But I've seen some pictures of her. She looks very impressive. Next up we have is the lovely Mrs. Monica Maria Vega. As you know, I had the pleasure of interviewing Miss Vega last year. Now, she competed at the show last year. Did both open and the Masters. Impressive lady. She's a very determined bodybuilder. She last competed at the Grand Prix, and I'm a fan of Maria. I know a while back she had some medical setbacks, but now she's in order, and this is a show she's going to do again, and she's doing both open this time. Last time she did Masters, but now she's just doing open. We have here the lady who I'm pleasure knowing. This is a lady who's a great friend of mine, the lovely Miss T.S. Williams. As you know, we followed my social media a few days ago. Her dear husband, my dear friend, Mr. Big Keith Williams, he was going to do this show, but he had to drop out due to medical reasons. But Tina's still doing this show. As you know, Tina actually earned her pro card here in Chicago at the Michigan National. That's been almost 5-6 years ago. Amazing lady, amazing physique, multiple time Rising Phoenix competitor. I would say, from what I've been seeing from Tina, she looks great. She was working with Melody Specco, and they really has bring her condition and shape out. So I hope she does well this show. I think she's a top 3 competitor for the show. Now we have another lady who last competed at the Toronto Pro, Dr. Maria Manuel. Now she is just doing the Masters, I think 50 and 55 plus. But, she could have done 40 and also possibly done the open. I will tell you some of these ladies, I know some ladies feel comfortable doing with the Masters, competing with women in their age group, but never take a shot at the opportunity. You never know what the judges see. You might see something that you like. So, but best of luck to her. Next up is one Miss Nadia Okmpus. And she's been competing for quite some time. She was in women's physique and women's bodybuilding. I know the last time she competed at this show was 2023, and she's been busy a bit, competing overseas. But she's also a lady I think she probably should have done the Open too. I mean, we can use more bodies in the Open class, at least a good 8 or 9 would be suffice. Next up, we have one Miss Ellen Bello. And I think she's been a pro for a couple of years. I think the last time she competed was the Masters World Championships. And I think she fits in the Masters division. I think that's where she's best at, And right here we have the lovely Miss Pamela Porter. And she's been as a pro for a bit. And she's also doing women's over 55 and 50, I believe. President Physique, maybe another one we might consider maybe move over to Masters. And next is a lady who I had the pleasure of interviewing on my channel also. We've been in contact, the lovely Mrs. Tina Ware. As you know, Tina has served our country, United States military. I will say, always to anybody who served our country, not say thank you for your service. I say appreciate the sacrifice she has made. Now, this is going to be her second year as a pro. She earned a pro card last year, and the show is coming up. See, it's going on this weekend, the Teen Collegiate and Masters. And then she made her pro debut at the Masters World Championships last year. I was talking with her. I think she should do Open, but she feels more comfortable in her age group. But you know what? There's opportunities. With Open, you don't have to pay. But I hope she does well. I mean, even though she's not doing 40 plus, which probably can get her Masters Olympia qualification, but maybe shoot for it next year. There's great opportunities for that. Now, one person I'm kind of disappointed not doing the show is, she was last year's champion as the lovely Mrs. Sherry Priami. Sherry has Sherry made her women's bodybuilding debut at this show back in 2022. And then she was on her way for probably qualification that year, but circumstances in life had to take a turn. So it was very important for her to take care of life first. But she came back in 2024 and won her second Olympic qualification, for women's bodybuilding. President Lady, great physique. Been a pleasure having her on my channel. I hope we do see her come back next year. Next up is a lady who also competed the show, who took first runner-up to Sherry, and that is the lovely young Miss Hunter Henderson. Now, Hunter finally got her Olympic qualification at the Grand Prix that was last year, the same show that Tina did. First of all, lady, Christina Physique, I was hoping she'd do the show, maybe try to get a shot at the title, but I think because she has a relationship with Christina Mendoza, she probably didn't want to compete against her coach and friend, but I don't know. This was a great test to see how these two go against head-to-head. But we might see her later on. There's still shows that are left for Olympic qualifications, such as Tampa. Also, there's the Rising Phoenix, and also there's the Grand Prix, and maybe even there's a show in Germany that's being promoted by Dennis James. But we can't wait to see what Helen's going to bring. She's very impressive. Next is a lady who we have not seen since the Triple O, and that's been since almost the first of this month. It's been since April, and that is the lovely Miss Mea Ash. Now, Mea has done Chicago before and other shows last year. I've talked about this with other people. I think she's maybe taking a step back. She won. I remember she did an interview with my man Glenn at Amazon Fitness magazine, and she was talking about maybe doing New York after she did Triple O. But my guess, she's taking some time off. I've seen some on social media. Maybe that's what she's doing. Maybe after her performance at the Triple O, she decided just to rest a little bit. Maybe do a show later on in the year, or maybe come back next year. But I'm a fan of Mea, President Physique. She's also been Olympian in the past, both in women's bodybuilding and physique. Next we have is Levvenia Boss, the young Miss Boss. As you know, she's been competing as a pro for quite some time. She is also a multi-time Olympian. We have not seen her since the Olympia. Remember, she got her qualification at the Romania Muscle Fest back in 2023. I was hoping she might do this show, because the last time she did a show before then was the New York Pro. She did New York Pro, which took second to Ashley, and was hoping to see her, sometime soon. But maybe we might get to see her. There's Tampa still coming up, also Rising Phoenix, and a couple other shows. So we got to wait to see what she's going to do for this season. Next up is Dr. Keon Squar. Dr. Squar is right now, she's already qualified for the Masters Olympia. Now, she's done the Chicago Pro in the past, both Open and Masters. Impressive, she did top 5 in the Open part. President Physique, as she competed at the Toronto Super Show, which was like a couple months ago. She got her Master Olympic qualification. So now her big focus now is the Master O. So, I hope she does well. I think she's a impressive lady. I mean, what I'm seeing for her, she looks really good. I mean, she can probably do well at the Master O. And lastly here, a lady who I had pleasure also have been on my channel, both available for her, and I was hoping her to do the show because she did it in women's physique. That is Ramana Scottson. She did both the the Chicago and the Atlanta Pro in women's physique, and then this year she made her women's bodybuilding debut at the Imperial. For personal reasons, she take a step back right now. The cost of traveling, and after what happened at the Imperial, I think she still needs more time to grow and develop. I'm a fan of Ramana. She's an impressive lady, very hardworking. I hope we can probably see her compete maybe one more time for the years out. There is a couple of shows that probably get an opportunity, maybe for this year's Olympia, and also maybe next year's Olympia. So let's wait and see what she's going to do. Now, next up here, we have the list for women's physique. And this is a very deep list. This is probably one of the deepest lists. I think the only list that was probably the deepest close to that is probably between Toronto and maybe I would say the Ultimate Classic. I mean, women's physique seem like they're always turning out. I mean, it's just a division that's, like I said, I'm growing to love a bit. They really come show out, but still, I'm still a fan of women's bodybuilding. But we have quite a few impressive ladies here, and some of them I have the pleasure of being on my channel. First off, we have and also we have the Masters class. Masters class is, pretty good. We have from 40, which is still get you Olympic qualification, I think, for this year before the end of the deadline, which is the Masters is coming up the end of the next, I think the month after next. No, the week after the Tampa Bay Pro, I believe. But I think there's like maybe a period where you still got enough time for you to get qualification before the end of the deadline. So they still got 40 plus. We got quite a few ladies who possibly can get that shot. First off, we have Elenie Alvives, and she's been competing for quite some time. She last competed at Tampa. Some other shows she's done also. Not much about her, but like I said, she's been a pro for at least about a couple of years. Next up, we have a lady who I have on the pleasure also being on my channel. She's been on the channel a couple of times. She got an interview coming up with my man Glenn later today. I want you to go check it out. Go to the Amazon Fitness podcast. Check out the interview with her, with Marica Jones. Beautiful lady, amazing person. She's Olympic qualified back in 2024. Just great physique, great look for. She had quite a few shows this year. She was at the Ultimate Classic. She was at the Omaha. She was going to do the Vancouver Isle, but circumstances couldn't allow that to happen. But maybe next year we get to see her do that show. Next up we have is Evangelina Belton. If I pronounce her name wrong, I'll say Miss Belton. She's been competing for quite some time. She's been in the game for a good bit. She's also doing women's masters class. Next up we have is one Katrina Blackburn. Now, Miss Blackburn is trained by Autumn and Oksana Priori. She turned pro last year in the universe, and also she's also a former military service person. So anytime who I see somebody who's served our country, I don't say thank you for your service. I appreciate the sacrifice they have made. This would be her pro debut. You also have another pro debut, Miss Katherine Castles. Now, Miss Castles was supposed to do a couple of shows this year, but she had to drop out. I think circumstances happens, especially the cost of it, because she's on Australia. Cost of travel to one country or another is very expensive, and things happen. But we might finally get to see her compete this year. We have one Miss Kimberly Dresden. Now, Miss Dresden, I think we have not seen her compete since 2024. Present physique, good condition. She's also doing opens and masters. How we have here one Miss Veli Eaton, who's been in the game for quite some time. She's also doing opens and masters. Next up, we have one Miss Carrie Gearing, and I believe this would be her pro debut. I think Miss Gearing, last competed at the 2024 universe, where she got a pro card. Next up here, we have here a legend who's been a multi-time Olympian, multiple-time All-Star Classic competitor, the lovely Mrs. Heather Grace. I know a dear friend of mine used to date her back in the day. Yeah, he mentioned it quite a few times on our live stream. Now, Heather is also a Master Olympian. She's qualified for this year's Master Olympia. Impressive lady, impressive. I remember one year she did women's bodybuilding. That was at the Puerto Rico Pro back in 2021. But let's see how she looks. I think she's doing both most open and masters. She's already qualified. Next up, we have a lady who also had the pleasure of being on my channel, the lovely Mrs. Daffne Holmes. Now, Miss Holmes, she's been competing for quite some time. She did take a dip in wellness for a minute. And I had a pleasure being on my channel quite a few times. Both her and her husband, Keith Holmes, they are competitors out of Florida. I hope they might do one more show, because the last show she competed was the Ultimate Classic. Next up, we have another lady who's also been on my show, on my channel a couple of times, the lovely Mrs. Donna Jones. I know Miss Jones is originally from Barbados. She's a mother. Yesterday was her birthday. And I want to say happy birthday to her. Happy belated birthday. Amazing lady, very determined. She loves bodybuilding, and she's really a go-getter. We respect her passion for it. I think she's she's trying to compete to get qualification for Master Olympia herself, because she last competed at the Emerald Cup, which was a Master Olympic qualifier show. Next up, we have Nicole LaRu. If I got the name wrong, I want to place that. Or you might know this better is Concrete Barbie. Now, Nicole turned pro almost 3 years ago, and there was a plan for her to make her debut last year. But circumstances happened. She had to take a step back for a minute, and now this is the opportunity to finally see her make her pro debut. From what I've seen of her, she's very impressive. Very impressive. Next up, we have one Miss Tamson Larson, and she last competed in Atlantic Coast. She's been a pro for about a couple of years now. Next up, we have one Miss Stacy Lewis, and now she's been competing for a good bit, and she had last competed since the 2024 Omaha Pro. Next up, we have one Miss Natalya Morela. If I got her name wrong, I apologize. Now, she just turned pro almost 2 weeks ago at the Universe. So this is going to be her pro debut. Wow, you don't get too many women who want to make their pro debut just barely weeks after turning pro. Usually some take a year or more off, but let's see how she does. Next up, we have a lady also had a pleasure on my channel, both her and her husband, the lovely Mrs. Oksana Priori. Now, Mrs. Priori last competed at the New York Pro. She also did the Emerald Cup. Impressive lady, impressive physique. As you know, she was Master Olympic qualified 1 year, but circumstances couldn't be able to make it. I think issue with visa, because she's from Russia, and I think there was issues with that, whatever. But impressive lady, impressive physique. Her and her husband are very passionate about it, being a work and train. And they have now recently they have one of their clients, Anna Femina, is going to Olympia for fitness. And so we have one Miss Christina Porter. Now, Miss Porter competed at the Ultimate Classic. Now, she's been in the game for quite some time. Next up we have is Paula Ranta. Now, Paula, she's been hitting it hard. She's an Olympian. But remember, she was Olympian in figure. She made the switch back in 2024, and she did pretty good. She was top 3 in a couple of shows, top 5 some shows, very close to getting Olympic qualification. This year she also was top 3, top 5 some shows. She did the Ultimate Classic, she did the Imperial, she did the Omaha. She was very busy. Recently I saw she switched coaches. She was with Nasir Hyson, and now she got a new coach. I think she's still young, and I think she probably needs that time to grow, because last year she did at least about 6 or 7 shows. And that's the thing, that's the advantage of youth, but also you can burn yourself out real quick. So maybe, after this show, take a step back, because she did Tampa 1 year, and you got to remember that's the year that Sama Benson won, and that's a tough lineup that year. But like I said, she still has great condition, great development, but just need more time to grow as a competitor. Next up is a lady we have not seen in a long time. She hadn't competed in any shows in the States, but she has competed shows in Canada and also in Portugal. The lovely Miss, Olivia Bing Rying, if you want, or Olivia Bing, you might know her. She's originally from China. She's done Chicago before, and I believe she got her qualification in Chicago for Olympia. She's also Olympian. Impressive physique, and been a fan of hers. I hope she does well. Next up, we have one Miss April Rule, and I believe Miss Rule turned pro last year at the Teen Clique show, which is going on this weekend. Not much about her, so this is going to be her pro debut. Next up, we have one Miss Kristen Celas. Now, Miss Celas, she turned pro at the, I think it was the North Americans, or was it Teen Collegiate? Because one of the shows last year. She's done a couple of shows since turning pro. She's done New York and Pittsburgh. So this is going to be her 3rd show since she turned pro. Here's another lovely lady who I have been in contact in the past for a bit. The lovely Miss Carla Cruz. Now, Mrs. Cruz is from Mexico, and impressive physique. She made her pro debut last year in the show in Brazil. And I think she was top 3 in that show. Then she took second place to the lovely Miss Robin Mays at Toronto Pro. And she did Imperial. And this is going to be, I believe, her 4th show since making her pro debut. Present physique, crazy quads. Her legs just crazy. She kind of reminds me of a bodybuilder I used to be a fan of, like the Colette Gourmand. You know, the height, the build, the hair. You know, she looks like, kind of like a young Colette Gourmand. You know, you can see it. Here's another lady who I had the pleasure of having on my channel before. The lovely Miss Uribe. As you know, Miss Uribe, she's been competing for quite some time. She last competed at the Ultima Classic. I know we did an interview a while back where she was talking about, take some time off and then, picking a show. And she did Ultima. Impressive physique, impressive lady. She's a coach and a trainer. I hope she does well. And last but not least is a lady who also, I had quite a few ladies who had the interviews with on this show. Shout out to the lovely Miss Nelly Wolf. Now, Mrs. Wolf has been in the game for quite some time. She got her first Olympic qualification at the Pittsburgh Pro. Now, people say it was only 3 competitors. Hey, like the man says, a win's a win. Impressive lady, great look to her, great physique. Last time we saw her at the Omaha Pro. But I hope she does well. Now, here's a lady who is doing figure that I had the pleasure of having my channel, the lovely Miss Jazelle Heathcoat. Now, Miss Heathcoat last competed at the Vancouver Pro Show. Impressive lady, I hope she does well. I will do a video for the competitors on figure. Not so much on figure. I'm going to post it on my IG. So many ladies, I can't get them all, and it's just a deep lineup. 30 women for figure. 30, at least. And, do a video like that would take me forever. So, and also the next lady who also had pleasure, Masters Bikini Open competitor, the lovely Miss Morgan Chilcutt. As you know, Miss Chilcutt, she is a impressive lady, very determined. I do, like I said, I don't do a lot of interviews with bikini competitors, but her story is very just interesting, being for a dancer, her husband being an NBA player. I know she did a GoFundMe. So if you go to her IG, she's, her GoFundMe should be in her bio. You want to donate something to her. Same thing with Donna. Quite a few ladies do GoFundMe. So reach out to them if you want to make a donation. Our next other lady who just got a pleasure interviewing just this past weekend, the lovely Mrs. Margie Andress. Now, she's going to be competing at the Miss International, which is a pro qualifier in women's bodybuilding. She was doing figures, she's doing the physique, but she's trained by my dear friend, Mr. Big Keith Williams. It's just an opportunity for her. I hope she gets it. I hope she's trying to do a middleweight. So we hope we can get at least 4 more women who want to compete. This is, ladies, I keep telling you, you can go all the way to Pittsburgh. If you're close to Chicago and you want the opportunity to pro card, try it out. If she don't get it, there's a couple other shows she can probably do it in. But she's a impressive lady. Great story about her, how she met Keith and how she got into bodybuilding. I hope she's all the best. And folks, I don't talk about guys that much other than my man, Big Keith. But we'll talk about the gentleman here, Mr. Otto Potti. Mr. Potti, his story is amazing. The guy survived COVID-19. The Omicron variant bounced back. Got his pro card at the Masters USA's. He did a show with his lovely wife, Oksana, at the Emerald Cup, competing in men's classic. Great guy. His story about how he got into his bodybuilding is just amazing. Like I said, I do a lot of interviews, but when I heard about what happened to him, and we came home to me because my mother died from the virus. So he's competing in Masters men's classic, and also I think he's doing open. But impressive guy. Shout out to him. Too bad my big brother Big Keith's not doing the show. I would know he'd love to do it, but right now it's important his health than just compete. And also be a cheerleader for your clients. Because one of his clients is competing there. Also, Margie is competing. And also Tina. So, folks, the show is going to start tomorrow. It's going to be the Masters class. That's the first they're going to start. And also the Open is going to be on Saturday. So you can go to this link here and you can click to get to see the live stream. I'm not going to watch it because it's too expensive right now. Circumstances are telling me right now I'm in the middle of some stuff right now, and circumstances really I have to put my finances someplace else. But I wish all the best to the people I know who compete in shows, people who have been guests of mine, and also all the other competitors. This is a great show. One of the few shows, like I said, that gives women's bodybuilding a fighting chance where so many promoters have not. Shout out to Tim Gardner, shout out to his productions, and shout out to all the competitors out. So check out the show, watch the Masters, because there's some competitors in Masters, and also watch the Open. And just give a shout out to any competitors you are a fan of. This is Mea Ash George page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk. Like, donate, subscribe. I am out.